Thanks, Sue. Kia ora, everyone. Welcome. Kia ora is a greeting I bring from my home country. It's not the only thing I bring, but we'll maybe come to that. Good morning and welcome to techUK's annual Digital Ethics Summit. I'm really happy to be here talking to you all, a room full of people who care as much as I do about protecting people's fundamental privacy rights. Merriam-Webster's word of the year for 2023 was revealed not long ago. It's Riz. Oh, hang on. No, that's Oxford University Press. Merriam-Webster was authentic. We'll come back to Riz maybe. In an age of AI, deepfakes, and ChatGPT, I think authentic is a really interesting choice. If we also think about the theme of this year's summit, which is seizing the moment, we can see quite a neat link between the two. It's important that organisations remain authentic if they are to use AI and other emerging technologies to seize the moment. If an organisation isn't authentic, or if the public think that they can't trust the organisation with their information, then they'll go elsewhere. Obviously, seizing the moment means many different things in many different circumstances. It also presents an interesting question. How can we, as industry leaders, regulators, and organisations seize the moment? Is it through looking to the future, seeing what's coming down the track and preparing for that, trying to sort of hold up that crystal ball? Or is it, as I'm about to argue, about realising and acknowledging that the future we are considering is here already, and that there's work to do to ensure the future remains bright? More on that later. The main technological advancement I want to discuss today is one that you've already been deeply immersed in and will continue with in later sessions: artificial intelligence. It has become ubiquitous. How many of you in the room used AI this morning without even thinking about it? It's in your phones, on your smartwatches, it's in how you travel, even in the music choices on your commute. It's an essential part of your morning routine. People have been talking and thinking about the ramifications of things like smart devices for a long time now, but they have never been so entrenched in modern society, and paired with the technology of AI present new challenges. For example, I know that you've been thinking about how much personal information these devices are actually collecting, even from something as simple as finding your way to this conference today. If you used a navigation app to get here, its AI model knows something about you. It knows your home address, where you are now, the fact that your home is most likely empty. If a hacker were to gain access to that information, it would make it easy to know when people were out at work. It's the same with wearable devices. If someone gained access to people's smartwatches, they would have access to location data. While, as I mentioned, people have some understanding about the risks, I think we've moved from a threshold of the risks of smart devices, of understanding the risks of, to understanding the risks of cyber attacks and scraping becoming a very real possibility. AI brings new challenges. For example, the CMA recently published an initial review of foundation models. Their review found that the lack of access to closed-source AI models, like that which was used to build ChatGPT, could restrict or limit competition and result in higher prices and unfair terms of use. The CMA also highlighted that intellectual property and copyright were important issues in the use of AI models. Their report calls for developers to have access to data and computing power to ensure that early AI developers do not gain an unfair and entrenched advantage over others. We're working with the CMA on this issue, as there are a number of areas of crossover between competition, consumer, and data protection objectives when it comes to AI. Think, for example, if you see a closed source AI development system as being anti-competitive, is one of the solutions to that requiring opening up those data sources, which some might see as antithetical to data protection. So we need to be able to reconcile these objectives, to square that circle, to ensure that both sets of regulators work together to get the optimum outcome for consumers. But there are dangers here. The Guardian recently ran a story about OpenAI saying that their staff were alarmed at how powerful their model was, with some raising safety concerns with the board. One example used by an OpenAI employee about open source AI was that if an AI system learned how to start its own biological laboratory, the results could be catastrophic. I want to make it clear from the very start that we're not against organisations using AI, quite the opposite. We do want to make sure that they are using AI in sensible, privacy-respectful ways, ensuring that people's personal information and privacy rights remain protected throughout. It's not either or, it's having it with those protections. People are excited, rightly so, about the benefits that AI brings. Research by the Office of National Statistics and KPMG have shown an increased knowledge and awareness of AI. But the research is not all positive. Pew Research reported in August that people are becoming less trusting of AI. Their research found that 52% of those surveyed were more concerned than excited about AI. This is an increase from 37% in 2021 and 38% last year. Although that survey relates to American citizens, the results are still surprising, to say the least. I do think it's really important that we focus a bit of attention also on the disparity between some of those statistics in the Western world and what we're seeing about community acceptance in some Asian economies. But that's a topic for another time, I think. But what I think those survey results, the message it sends out into industry, it sends to regulators, it sends to you and I, is that if people don't trust AI, they're less likely to use it, resulting in reduced benefits and less growth or innovation in society as a whole. And this is the topic I think that needs addressing and that my office is focused on. 2024 cannot be the year that consumers lose trust in AI. This isn't a surprise to us at the ICO. It fits in with what we've been seeing all year and links with our investigations work in this area. However, we want to ensure that people don't stop using apps or technology because they're worried about the risks to their data. That's what we're here for, to ensure that people's information is protected, to anticipate their concerns, and to take action before their information is compromised. For example, we issued a preliminary enforcement notice against Snap, Inc., because we were concerned over their potential or apparent failure to properly assess the privacy risks posed by its generative AI chatbot, MyAI. This was particularly important to us because it involved the personal information of children. I need to say that our investigation is ongoing. We issued a preliminary notice. Snap has an opportunity to make representations. It has taken up that opportunity. We will consider those in an independent and fair and dispassionate manner without predetermination before we make any final conclusions. But the reason we took the step of publicising that notice, despite its preliminary nature, despite the fact it is not evidence of unlawful action on the part of Snap, it is really important that we signal into industry that there are standards, there are accountabilities, you will be held to those, you will need to demonstrate to the regulator that you have had proper regard to the standards that Parliament has set out for all emerging technologies. And it's something I think that a lot of the discourse this year has overlooked. Our legislation is founded on technology-neutral principles of general application. They are capable of adapting to numerous new technologies, as they have done in the last 30 years, as they will continue to do. AI is just the latest to come along and to engage those principles. But our action in respect of Snap and others shows that we're taking action in this space. And I've been clear that organisations need to consider the risks associated with AI along with the benefits. The tech may be new, but as I've said, the same data rules apply here as they have always done. Last year, we issued a £7.5 million fine to facial recognition database company Clearview AI for collecting and storing images of UK residents. We're seeking permission to appeal the judgment of the tribunal, which ruled that Clearview fell outside the reach of UK data protection law, but our action in this space demonstrates how AI models, like the database Clearview manages, can be used in ways that the public may not expect. That's wrong, and that's where we can intervene and provide clarification and reassurance to the UK public. However, AI offers many benefits, such as automating processes that would otherwise be time or labour intensive. For example, at the ICO, we are planning to introduce an AI solution to help us assess and highlight examples of websites using cookie banners which breach data protection laws. We are aiming to run a hackathon event in early 2024 to explore this problem and propose solutions in more detail. Like every other business represented in this room, the ICO is looking for the opportunities that AI represents. We get tens of thousands of inquiries a year. How many of those can we reliably automate? That's something that we are very keen to explore, which means that we can release staff from those routine inquiries to stuff which more actively engages the skills that they have. We've also been clear about where we've investigated and haven't found concerns. At the start of this year, we highlighted how concerns were raised with us about the use of algorithms in decision-making around benefit entitlement and the welfare system by local authorities and the Department for Work and Pensions. We looked under the hood. We explored and investigated how AI was being used in these decisions and whether there were any signs of discrimination or negative impact. Our investigation did not find any evidence to suggest that AI was subjecting people to harm or any financial detriment by being used in welfare or the social care sector. The local authorities we spoke to confirmed that there was significant human involvement before any final decisions were made on benefit entitlement. We shared the results of our investigation because I believe it's important to show both the public and other organisations that AI can be used in positive ways that comply with data protection law. And it's also really important that we're not just the ones out there beating up the wrongdoers, that we're actually providing reassurance to the public and sending that message that, you know, here is a responsible deployment that obtains the efficiencies without engaging the risks that we've heard so much airtime take up in 2023. Steps like that provide the sense of certainty and help build trust that AI, when used with people's privacy rights in mind, can improve processes. These kinds of findings don't make headlines, not the same ones of the sort of apocalyptic predictions that we've been hearing, but they are still vitally important. They show the balance of our work and allow us to highlight examples of good practice as well as bad. And in my business, where we administer a law that has necessary uncertainty built in, it's really important that from time to time we send a message out into the economy, into industry, to say this is what good looks like. And we're not the sole source of that. The benefits of AI, as I said, are clear to see. As I mentioned at the start of my comments, it can help improve lives by automating some of the most mundane processes, picking the quickest route to work, providing the perfect soundtrack for your day, or taking the guesswork out of what to watch on TV. AI also means good things for industry, whether that's through new innovations to improve customer service, better safety features for online services, or quicker resolutions for common technical issues. But these benefits can't be allowed to outweigh or to be outweighed or overshadowed by public concern. By virtue of all of you attending this summit, and a shout out to those online, whether you're here in the room or stuck at home because of trail strikes and frosts, I want to welcome you, because I think that it's safe to assume that all of us in this room today and the virtual room understand and appreciate both the benefits and dangers of AI. I think I can also assume that you understand and appreciate that our existing regulatory framework allows for firm and robust regulatory interventions as well as innovation. Please do shout out if my assumptions here are wrong. However, the hard work that you are all putting in by adhering to the law, taking time to understand how to protect people's information, learning how to embed privacy by design and not as an afterthought, that hard work risks being undermined. By those who are seeking to use AI for nefarious purposes, to misuse the advances in technology to either harvest data or treat their customers unfairly. We know that there are bad actors out there who aren't respecting people's information and who are using AI to gain an unfair advantage over their competitors. Our message to those organisations is clear. Non-compliance with data protection will not be profitable. Persistent misuse of information or misuse of AI in these situations in order to gain a commercial advantage will be punished. Where appropriate, we will seek to impose fines commensurate with the ill-gotten gains achieved through non-compliance. But fines are not the only tool in our toolbox. We can order companies to stop processing and to delete everything they've gathered, like we did with Clearview AI. We're also interested in getting into the weeds of the AI supply chain. We want to understand how the AI models work. What information are they trained on? Does this introduce any unwanted bias or discrimination against minority groups or those who aren't as widely represented in society? And how can we, as the data protection regulator, ensure that these biases aren't carried over and incorporated into later AI models? It's important that our voice is heard in these debates, particularly as large language models such as ChatGPT grow in popularity, and we know that it's already the fastest growing app in history. My colleague Stephen Armand, who you'll be hearing from later today, spoke recently to the House of Lords Communications and Digital Committee about LLMs, and more broadly about the AI value chain. Stephen highlighted our position in the AI space and how we've been regulating here for a long time. As I've laid out already, this isn't a new issue for us. There is no regulatory lacuna here. The same rules apply as they always have done. Stephen also mentioned that as AI model developers and deployers both work with personal data, we're able to act across the entirety of the AI value chain. That creates choices for us about where to have the greatest impact. He also talked about our ability to tackle risks upstream, about bias that would flow downstream into the deployment of AI models. Moving on to how the ICO can help you, I want to highlight just some of the ways we're helping organisations who want to do the right thing understand their responsibilities when it comes to implementing or using AI. Back in 2020, we worked closely with members of the public and the Alan Turing Institute to discover how people actually wanted to receive information about decisions that were made using AI. This research was important as it gave us a real insight into what people thought about AI in general. The citizen juries and focus groups that we attended helped inform our co-badged guidance with the Turing Institute, giving organisations a blueprint on how to explain decisions made by AI to their customers or clients. We also published guidance looking at the intersection and cross-regulatory positions of AI and data protection, where they crossed paths, where our jurisdiction ended, and which other regulators were involved. This set the tone of regulatory cooperation on AI, which has blossomed into a full work plan with our partners at the Digital Regulation Cooperation Forum, which I'm going to come back to in a moment. But we haven't just written guidance, though. We know that some of you will have specific detail and technical questions around your use of AI and how it interacts with data protection. That's where our Sandbox and Innovation Advice Service comes in. Through the Sandbox, we've created a safe space for you to come in and work together with ICO experts on your innovative product or service. Our staff are on hand to help you work your way through any tricky data protection-related issues that you may come up against. The Sandbox also offers you a way to stress test a product or service before releasing it to the wider market. This way, we can help you iron out any potential problems before they occur, resulting in a smoother process for you and your clients or customers. Applications for the sandbox are open until the end of December. I urge anyone in the room right now who's working with AI and wants to ensure that they're baking in data protection from the very start to get in touch with the sandbox team and to submit an application. We're here and we're happy to help. We work closely, as I said, with our partners at the DRCF to ensure a joined-up approach to innovation. We founded this cross-regulatory group to ensure that there was a cohesive, coherent and collaborative approach to issues that affect across society. This collaborative approach is fundamental to our effectiveness as a whole economy regulator. Our DRCF partners, Ofcom, the Financial Conduct Authority, and the Competition and Markets Authority have worked with us to produce guidelines, share knowledge, and consider cross-regulatory issues affecting people across the UK, which includes AI. Through the DRCF, we've been funded for and are piloting a multi-agency advice service, helping innovators to develop their ideas with regulatory compliance in mind. This AI and digital hub will provide tailored advice to help businesses navigate the process and remain compliant across all regulatory domains. We'll be launching the pilot service next year, so keep an eye out for that if you're interested. I also want to talk briefly about our award-winning Innovation Advice Service. That's IA, which is kind of backwards, but anyway, that we launched earlier in the year. Innovation Advice is a fast, direct service offering advice and guidance to organisations struggling with data protection issues which may be holding up progress of a new product, service or business model. We'll answer your questions within 10 to 15 working days, giving you clarity and confidence and most of all certainty on the data protection aspects of your project. Since its beta launch in April, we've answered questions on how a law firm can deploy a generative AI system to draft responses to clients, which lawful basis applies to collecting and storing employee diversity data, and whether telling customers about an online fraud prevention tool would be classed as direct marketing. It's an eclectic mix. This is more than just simple promotion of ICO services. The point of highlighting the help that is available from the regulator is so that everyone in this room can go and spread the word. The ICO is here to help. We are an important and influential leader in the AI space, and we want people to come to us for advice, help, and guidance if they need it. But we also want to make our expectations clear. Privacy and AI go hand in hand. There is no either or here. You cannot expect to utilize AI in your products or services without considering data protection and how you will safeguard people's rights. There are no excuses for not ensuring that people's personal information is protected if you're using AI systems, products, or services. We can help, as I've laid out this morning. The data protection principles provide a robust, risk-based, context-specific framework for the guidance of AI and emerging tech. It means that organisations deploying these systems can consider the potential risks and harms to people. However, there are also some things that you can do outside of engaging with us. For example, we'd encourage you to reach out to your prospective users. Where do they see the risks? What do they want to see more transparency on? What would help them to make an informed decision on your product or service? You can take this feedback and build it into your DPIA, Data Protection Impact Assessment for the uninitiated, or the broader risk assessment process that I hope you will all be following. Of course, it's likely that the ICO is not the only regulator that can help you with this. For example, we've strengthened our relationships with Ofcom and others to ensure that when the Online Safety Act comes into force, we can achieve maximum alignment and consistency between our individual regimes. An example of that has just been published yesterday with Ofcom's work on age assurance that will be informed by data protection input as well. Where the development of AI systems and their use of personal information overlaps with competition law, we've liaised with our counterparts at the CMA to ensure a joined-up, no-surprises approach to regulation. We've also worked with the DRCF to anticipate and consider our approach to emerging technologies like AI so that we are fully prepared for what is coming down the track. In particular, what will 2024 look like in terms of AI and emerging tech? This links in nicely with some of the sessions later today, including the Meet the Regulators panel, which my colleague Stephen Armand is taking part in. I'll draw to a close there, as I know we wanted to have some time for Q&A, but I want to end with a clear message to industry. We are here to help. If you have concerns or questions about using AI, whether that's in the development of a new product or service, or if you're looking to improve your current offering, then come to us, visit our website, or call our helpline. You can find all our AI-related content on our website at ico.org.uk/AI. There's guidance, toolkits, and much more, so please don't hesitate to use what's available to you. We're also working on some blogs over the next few months, setting out some of our thinking on aspects of AI. We're keen to hear your thoughts on those, so please get in touch once they're published. We're not just doing this for the hell of it. What this means is that there is no excuse for getting it wrong. So when we put our enforcement hat on and go out and start identifying non-compliance, organisations who, in the rush to market, put people's data and rights and freedoms at risk, there won't be an excuse of, we thought it was all new, we thought we were breaking ground, we didn't know there was regulation. You will be answerable to the ICO. My closing message is about trust. Make sure that 2024 isn't the year that people lose trust in AI. As I mentioned at the start, people are thinking about authenticity. It's the word of 2023. It's important as we move into a world where AI plays a significant part in our lives that we stay authentic. And you can do that by ensuring that people's rights are protected from the very start, by remembering that AI is built on the data of human individuals, of people like you and me, of your families. It is deployed to help them, to improve their lives, not to put them at risk. That's the authenticity that we're looking for. Thank you for listening, and I'm happy to take some questions.
Thank you, John. Thank you very much, and thank you for being with us and for sharing your wisdom and insights. Always wonderful to have you with us. We only have time for one question. I'm going to go for it. Otherwise, I know we'll be here for a very long time. We need to move on. Our next panel, we're actually going to be talking about AI regulation in the UK. And of course, the white paper approach very much looks at, as you were talking about, that collaboration and cooperation between the important role of the regulators. We have our panel this afternoon of Meet the Regulators, which your colleague Stephen Armand is going to be on. So you talked about collaboration and cooperation blossoming, and absolutely with the DRCF, and the DRCF will be on that panel as well. But is there any kind of key issue or key challenge or key area where you think more collaboration, cooperation is needed between the regulators, particularly as we look at taking the AI white paper forward? Perhaps an issue or topic you think that panel this afternoon really needs to hone down or think about more?
I do think that we need to be sending the signal that we are joined up, that the technology doesn't respect the regulatory boundaries that the statute has arbitrarily put in place, that we will coordinate. I think it's also really important that we recognise that, as well as regulatory boundaries, we recognise that AI does not respect international boundaries, that these are products that are deployed internationally. And so it's really important that we cooperate and collaborate, not only domestically with our regulatory partners, but internationally. And the ICO have done this by our membership of a G7 data protection group, in which we've had a joint statement on generative AI. There's a global privacy assembly, which is all privacy commissioners and data protection authorities in the world, unanimously affirmed a resolution just a few weeks ago in Bermuda on AI in employment. So I think, we do need to be making a really conscious effort to be finding those connections and making those collaborations.
And making that message clear that it's happening and that it's more of it still to come.
Yep.
John, thank you so
Sue.
much. And please, everybody, please thank John Edwards, the Information Commissioner, once again for being with us today. Thank you so much.